everyone, thank you for watching this video. For today, we are going to go through Evergreen Set 2 End of Year Exam 2021 Paper 2. Right, so I'm going to use the marking scheme and go through some of the answers with you and what are some of the points to take note. Okay, my working also may differ to some of the answers in the marking scheme, so I'll show you other methods of working as well. Right, let's take a look at our first question over here. Inside the diagram, we have the following diagram over here, different diagrams, and you take a look at the questions that's available. Question asks you to show that angle DAB is 90 degrees, but what do you notice? Triangle DAB, DA and B itself, right? I only know length for two sides. I do not know the measurement for the third side. So I'm unable to prove using a converse of Pythagoras theorem using the triangle DAB itself. But what can I do? I can actually extend the triangle to use the triangle DAC instead, because this is the triangle that has three sides given to me, right? So I can use DAC instead. And you notice the answer over here, this one comes in the form of a surd form, right? So square root of the number itself. So this one comes as surd forms. So in this question, I'm going to use the bigger triangle ADC to help me prove the converse of Pythagoras theorem and that the angle is 90 degrees. So let's start with the longest side, DC. Longest side, DC is 1 square root 109. So DC square will give me square root 109 whole thing square, which actually equals to 109 itself. Then we take the other two sides, 3 square plus AC square. AC, the whole length is 4 plus 6, which gives you 10 over here. Then add together is also 109. So hence, since the DC square equals to AD square plus AC square, by the converse of Pythagoras theorem, triangle DAC is a right angle triangle, and therefore angle DAB is 90 degrees. Something to take note, we are proving in this case, triangle DAC is a right angle triangle. DAC, yeah? Okay, is a right angle triangle. So I've proven that this is right angle triangle. Therefore, this must be a 90 degree. Therefore, triangle angle DAB is 90 degree. So please take note, okay, and do not just skip the statement and write that therefore angle DAB is 90 degrees. Okay, that's a result. Because of DAC, therefore angle DAB is 90 degrees. Next question. Now to find the exact value of sine of angle ABD. So this one, what are we looking for? For questions involving a trigo ratio, either we find length, if not we find angle, or the last one, we can actually find the trigo ratio itself. So we are looking at the ratio here in this case, looking for sine of the angle. This is not asking you to find angle ABD. This is not asking for you to find angle. So if you do sine inverse or whatever of the angle, that itself is wrong. Okay, so no, this is not asking for the angle ABD. So they are asking for the sine of the angle. So actually, what do they want? They want a fraction value, the ratio. Okay, a fractional value. So that means sine is O over H, opposite over hypotenuse. So first, where is the sine? The angle ABD. Angle ABD will be here. So if this is my angle, then I have my right angle triangle over here. And sine SO over H, hypotenuse. So, but we need to find what is our H. And obviously, we can use the converse of Pythagoras. We can use the Pythagoras theorem itself. We have 3, we have 4. So this one will be, since it's the longer side, we add them together. So 3 square plus 4 square square root, which gives me an exact value 5. Right? If let's say this number is not exact, let's say the number is a square root of 7 or whichever, we do not put it as a decimal place, we leave it as the surd form, as the square root form, square root of the number. Then you can get at the exact value of the whole thing itself. ratio itself, okay? So in this case, that is 5. So the answer for this will be SOH, opposite over hypotenuse, 3/5. That is the answer. Do not do sine inverse or whichever. Okay, next question, find the value of angle BDC. The marking scheme over here tried to use angle sum of triangle and whichever not. So, but I choose to do a slightly different method, angle BDC. Since the question asking for angle BDC itself, what are the things that I have? Number one, and the triangle BDC itself, right? BDC is not a right angle triangle. So it's very difficult for me to use trigo ratios or whichever at all because it's not a right angle triangle. But what are the right angle triangles available to us? So I have the bigger triangle ADC, okay, and I have the smaller right angle triangle DAB. So these two are all right angle triangles, right? So what can we find from these two? In order to try and get the angle BDC, they want this small angle over here, right? In order to get this angle BDC, I can actually get the larger angle, which can be found using my larger triangle, right? Okay, and after that, I can find the other angle, this one over here, which was just now my sine, my angle or something, right? And then I subtract the two of them, I can get my blue angle. That's for me lah. Okay, so different people have different choices, up to them, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this. I'm going to use the bigger triangle, and AC is 4 plus 6, 10. The opposite here is 3. So if I want to get this angle, this will be O over A. So angle ADC is tangent inverse TOA, 10/3. So tangent inverse 10/3. I get the answer 73.301 degree. Working in 5SF, 5SF. Next, I'm going to look at my smaller triangle. One is 3, one is 4. So this is 3, this is 4. I'm going to look at the yellow color angle over here, right? O over A again. So this one, angle ADB will be tangent inverse O 3/4. 4/3. Wait. I read wrongly. 4 and 3. So 4/3. Okay, TOA, tangent inverse 4/3. That gives me the angle 53.130 degree, 5/6 again. So therefore, as a result, angle BDC equals to the larger angle 73.301 minus 53.130 degree. 73.301 minus 53.130. That gives me 20.171. Rounding it off to one decimal place, that will be 20.2 degrees. Correct to one decimal place. Okay, and you notice we have the similar answer. So there can be quite a different number of working to this answer. So if your answer is slightly a little bit different in terms of the working, but you still managed to get a correct answer, do let me check whether is your answer working ideal or not. Okay, but it may not necessarily be that your answer is wrong. Okay, if you're okay with this question, then let's move on to the next part. Okay, next page. Next question. An object travels at 20 cm per second. Oh, they are talking about distance, speed, and time. By finding the shortest distance from A to CD, they are referring back to this question. Let me clear up my question over here a little bit so that I can draw out whatever that they want me to represent. Question is asking for shortest distance A to CD, A to CD. So they want the shortest distance from A to CD. Maybe I can find another color. right? Okay, so A to CD, shortest distance, A to CD, this is almost my shortest distance already, right? Oh no, shortest distance means I need to get a 90-degree angle. So if I were to draw this accurately, I don't know how am I going to draw it. Okay, let me try to see whether I can get a 90-degree out of it. Okay, meaning I must draw something like go straight from point A to CD, right, and form a 90-degree. So currently, if I have this as my height of the triangle, this will be the base of my triangle. Okay, so I'm going to find this height, or I let this be x, or maybe I call it be the distance. Okay, I call d as the distance that's being traveled. Okay, and currently I can still use the area of triangle. So area of triangle will be half that base, which is 10, times this height over here, which is 3. So area of triangle using the yellow color lines, half times base times height, equals to area of triangle using the purple one, half times d times square root 109. So I can be able to find the distance available for me, right? The shortest distance, right? So in this case, I shall let area of triangle ADC be half times base times height, which is 12 times 3 times 10 to give me 15 kilometers per hour, area of triangle. Usually I don't bother with the unit so much until the end. So give me 15. And at the same time, half times, I'll let this D be the distance. And CD is the distance, square root 109 to give you equals to 15. So to undo it, I take 15 times 2 to undo the half, right? Get rid of the square root 109. So that's how the teacher managed to get 30 over root 109. And you notice the teacher tried to keep it as exact as possible. But of course, in our working, if we choose not to write it this way, in the sub form, you can write it in 5 second figure in terms of your working. So this will be 2.8735 rounded off. That's the shortest distance. But you notice that this distance is in kilometers. How did they actually know the units? Let's check. Where did they actually tell you the units? There, they tell you 4 kilometers, 6 kilometers, whichever, right? So we actually know the units is in kilometers. And why do I need to matter so much about the units? Because here, this one say cm. So I need to change my kilometers to cm. Okay, and 1 kilometer, kilometer to meter to cm, 1,100. So I need to multiply this. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I might need wait. I want a more single figure. 2, 8, 3, 4, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. Okay, then this one will become 287,348 cm, right? Then in order to find the object, the distance, the time taken, so distance divided by speed. But you notice this speed over here is meters per second. So I take whatever the distance is, 283,487,348. Sorry. Divide by 20, and that will come in terms of seconds. 287,348 divided by 20. I get 14367.4 rounded off seconds. And converting it to seconds, we divide it into by 60, divide by 60. That gives you 2 approximately. They want the nearest minute. Okay, so 239.456. So the nearest minute, 239 minutes. Okay, sometimes some people might think that, oh, if I put 239 minutes, there's a 0.456 that I could not complete the distance. So if there are students cases who might write 240 to round off to completely cover the distance, I think it's still reasonable, but probably you want to write in the explanation down there, 240 to complete the total distance, I think the teacher will be able to accept your answer as well. Just need to indicate down your valid reasoning. Okay. Have you gotten your answer? Next question, question number 2. The volume of a container is 600 cm cube. Okay, read the notes. And the water from a tap fills at the rate of x cm cube per minute. What does this x cm cube per minute means? I like to represent this usually. I'll say x cm cube takes 1 minute or use 1 minute. Then the question now is, if I have 600 cm cube, before I find 600, I'm going to find 1 cm cube first. Will take how long? So I'm going to divide by x. That's why I come up with 1 over x of a minute. And then if I have 600 cm cube, I times 600. Multiplying by 600 brings you to the numerator. Right, so 600 over x of a minute. Okay, so time taken. Right, this one, I try to explain it in this manner. So this one will be 600 over x. So similarly, if I have another tab, which is tab B is 2 cm cube faster. So 2 cm cube faster means every minute, instead of just only x cm cube, is 2 more cm cube. So the speed over here will become x plus 2, or the rate rather, cm cube per minute. So in a similar way, I'll find 1 minute is how much, which is 1 over x plus 2 times 600. That will give you 600 over x plus 2. So we have these two timing. Okay. And when we interpret such things, we need to know, ideally, which one is faster, which one is slower. So you know that tab B is actually faster, right? So this timing here will be a shorter timing because it's faster, right? Then the old one, that means tab A itself, will be a longer timing. Will take a longer time because it's lower, right? Then now the next part of the question usually will involve fractions between these two. The question says it takes 4 3/4 hours more to fill up using tab A. So the one that takes a longer timing, which one take the longer timing? A or B? A, 600 over x takes a longer timing. So 600 over x minus away the one with the shorter timing, right? Longer minus the shorter timing will give you the difference. Take note, this is in hours, 4 over 3 of an hour. But when we have the question over here, this one here is in minutes. The units are not the same. So what can I do to 4 over 3 of an hour? This is in terms of minute. So here I need to change this to minutes. So that's why you notice the teacher over here, he took 4 over 3 times 60 into a minutes. Right, so take the longer minus the shorter one. Do not assume that the diameter x plus 2 is larger, so it'll be bigger number. Not necessary, okay? Not true. That's not true. Then now you do the rest of the stuff. You make the denominator the same. Okay, take note of negative sign. You do expansion. Cross multiply the denominators away. The denominator away to the other side. Do an expansion, shift. Equate it to 0. But you notice this is 80 squared, and then this one is just x squared. So there might be common factors. So I'm going to reduce the equation by dividing it by 80. Then we simplify and show that the equation. Okay, given that in the case, if this equation you can't find your answer for the part 3, you can still find the answer, solve the equation in part 2. For Sec 2 level, it's quite simple and straightforward. You just need to do a factorization. Make sure you know your working, please. Okay, I'll probably do the working to stand by. right? If not, those who use this calculator, you also can use your calculator to help you, but I'll still try as much as possible to show your working. 3 times 5, 15, they want a 2x, so 3x, 5x, they want a 2x is a positive, so the larger number get the positive sign, and check minus times plus, minus correct, so the answer will be x minus 3, x plus 5, and they want to solve the equation, so x equals to 3 or x equals to negative 5. Question only says solve the answer. They never asked me to reject anything. So both the answers are answers. Okay, unless you write an explanation why you cannot accept negative 5. Why is it that I cannot accept x equals to negative 5? Remember, x is a speed, right? So I cannot have negative 5 as my number of unit of volume or rate. How many cm cube per minute? So in this case, part 2, the last part over here, part 5, I think. Okay, they ask you how long you will use. I will tell them that using x equals to 3, I will show them that I use x equals to 2 and I reject x equals to negative 5. The rate of the water when both of them are at the same time. What do you mean by at the same time? For tab A, it was x cm cube per minute, right? 1 minute, which is actually, you found your x to be the number 3 cm cube per minute. For tab B, it was slightly faster, so it's x plus 2 cm cube per minute, right? But now it will become 3 plus 2, which is 5 cm cube per 1 minute. When both of the tabs combine together within 1 minute itself, both tab A and B will fill up. A plus B, 3 plus 5, which is 8 cm cube of water. So that will be the 8 cm cube per minute. But how long will it take to fill the container? The container is 600 cm cube. So 600 divided by 8 cm cube. So that will give you 75 minutes. Is that so accurate? Oh, yes, really 65, 75. Okay, have you gotten the concept? Now let us move on to the next question. Quadratic graph. Quadratic graph is really a very important question and scores a lot of marks. So please do make sure you know how to plot the graph. Spend time to practice it diligently. Okay, but now this quadratic graph over here comes in the form of a word problem itself. So in the form of a word problem, right, I have an experiment. The height is 1.7 meters tall. He threw a ball from the top of the platform. So there's a top of the platform plus his own height. Yeah? Okay, I do not know how. So the height of the ball above ground level itself, okay, and t seconds after it is can be modeled by this equation. Why do we need to read certain things? Number one, letter H. This one over here, the letter H actually represents the height. What is the height of the units of the height? This is height in meters. So this one will be my vertical y-axis. Okay, and next one over here, modeled by the equation, what is t? T is the time t seconds after it is being thrown. Okay, so these are the answers over here we find. And you notice I plug in my numbers, I can find A equals to 4 when t equals 0. 2, be careful, this is negative 2 square plus 3 times 2 plus 4. Your calculator probably, when you write negative 2 square, it still works fine because the square is only for negative 2. But some students, if you careless mistake and you put negative 2 whole thing square, the two values are not the same. So you might notice, how come your graph like not smooth or whichever, or the value is not correct? Then please check your answers. Go back and check your answers. So after I calculate that this is 6, notice certain thing, right? This value is 6, this value is also 6. Can I draw a quadratic graph with a flat line? I'm not supposed to draw a graph that has a flat line. Okay, so I cannot have a flat. So in this case, I will secretly tell myself, hey, I must notice and plot a line of symmetry somewhere, the turning point, somewhere in the middle. And what is this somewhere in the middle? That will be between 1 and 2, which is 1.5. So mentally, I'll tell myself, hey, let's try negative 1.5 squared plus 3 times 1.5 plus 4. Why is this necessary? To help me estimate and check my answers if they were to ask me for the maximum point and see how accurate is my graph, how accurate my answer will be. So from here, if by calculation and mentally you know that the line of symmetry is at x equals to 1.5, this will be about 6.25. So when you draw your graph, it will be difficult for your graph to read exactly 6.25. So you probably need at least your graph to read a 6.2, 6.3, or maximum best, at best, largest possible 6.4. But a 6.3 will be a good gauge to your graph. I don't think your graph can give you exactly specific until it is 6.25, but I will gladly accept 6.2 or 6.3. Okay, so now using a scale of 4 cm to represent 1 unit, quite large, draw the horizontal axis for the time from 0 to 4. So the graph is being drawn over here. This one is my time t axis, sorry, t seconds. Okay, and then my vertical y axis is now the height h in meters. All right, and 2 cm to represent 1 unit and draw. So I've drawn sketch the graph over here already, given in the answer scheme. Okay, and you notice something? The teacher actually drew the line of symmetry over here. All right, then now let's answer the next page of the question. Using a graph, find the height of the platform. Now, just now we were reading it, right? They gave you that the height of the man. What do you think this is for? Okay, so it's actually to tell you certain things. Now, how do I know where's the height of the platform? At the start, at the initial, right, when time is equal to 0, the height of the ball is 4 meters above the ground level. But remember, this is your platform, but there's a human being that's standing at the top of the platform. The human being is 1.7. How tall is this platform? When my total height over here is 4. So it's very obvious. So there are some students who usually we do a question, we just put the answer 4, right? But no, actually the answer is 4 minus 1.7. So that gives you 2.3. Okay, next one, next question. There you see, we expected the question to come. The maximum height of the ball above the ground. So the maximum will actually be your turning point, the maximum point that will give you your maximum height. So you read from your graph. So the maximum, as you can see, even if the teacher plotted it this way, right? He may not exactly give it to exact 6.25, but I can probably put a 6.2, yeah, 6.25, or maybe a 6.2, 6.3 in between or whichever. But in this case, the teacher knew the answer, sort of like calculated and know the answer, so you can actually cut at the point 6.25. Right? But if not, when you don't know the answer, you have a rough gauge. So you see the correct answer is 6.25, but the teacher accept a little bit of allowance, plus or minus 0.5. So you can accept up to 6.2 or 6 to 6.3. In fact, 6.4 might not give you an answer as well. Okay, so please be more accurate or be more mindful when you plot your graph or whichever and you notice certain things, you can pre-plot it, pre-plan your answers. Next one, the question say length of time. What do you mean by length of time? Okay, length of time, for example, I left my house for school at 8 o'clock and I reached school at 9 o'clock. What is the length of time of my journey? I need to do a subtraction, right? From 8 to 9, so it's about 1 hour. So when it's asking for a length of time or the word duration itself, it actually means I need to find a difference between two timings. Unless the first timing is just 0 lah. Okay, but no. They say when the ball was 5 meters above the ground. So what do you mean by 5 meters above the ground? So let's go back to our question or whichever. 5 meters above the ground. So I'm going to draw a height 5 meters above the ground, which is this one over here. Then I want to know the timing, right? What's the timing that it was 5 meters above the ground? This timing. Oh, 0.4. How do you know that this is 0.4? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20. 20 squares to represent 1 second. Then 1 square will represent 1 divided by 20, 0.05. So 2 squares represent 0.1. So 2 squares represent 0.1. That will give you 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. So that's how the teacher get the answer, 0.9 for this portion. So practice how do you read your graph, the scale units. The length of time difference between the time when it was height 5 meters. So from here all the way to the other end, this one over here, this will be 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, about 2.6, okay? Or I'm not sure, maybe plus or minus 2.7, right? So over here, this one she used 2.7, okay? So the length of time will be this subtract between these two timings, so 2.7 minus 0.4, or maybe 2.6 minus 0.4, or maybe 2.7 minus 0.35 or whichever. So approximately is 2.3 seconds. As you can see, the teacher takes a minimum area plus or minus of 0.05 seconds. So you accept any answers between this range only. So sometimes if you get 2.4, you notice the teacher might be stingy and might be more particular and they cannot give you the answer. Okay, next question. Find the time in second when it hits the ground. When it hits the ground, that means the height above the ground is now 0. So it hits the ground, I touch the ground. So when it hits the ground, so read directly at the time, oh, cut, where it's exactly 0. Where is it exactly 0? Here. Okay, so this one over here, answer 4 seconds. Straightforward. This is a giveaway question. Just read the answer. Okay, next one. A man decided to hit the falling ball with an air rifle. So a person is trying to hit it and aim at the falling ball, so it's going upwards, right? The height of the bullet, again, this is h, so remember our vertical axis, this is the height of bullet, and then the time in seconds, right? Can be modeled by this question. So this is a straight line of the form y equals mx plus c. In order to draw a straight line, you use a starts with C and B, chocolate bar. Okay, so I need a table of values, minimally 3. Where do I get all these numbers from? We choose the numbers available from the scale, right? So our number here got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we choose the x value, time value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up to you, like, okay, you choose whichever you want. So according to the teacher, she chose 0, 2, 4, and 5. Plug into your equations, find the values, and then you draw your same straight line. So after you draw this straight line itself, right, label it, you'll find that, oh, it's not going up, it's going down. Okay, oh, because the man is standing at a platform, so it's going downwards. Okay, so this one is my line that being drawn. Okay, the one over here. All right, so find the timing where it hits the stone. So where the curve, the stone is down here, this is the stone that's going down, and the yellow color is the one, the rifle bullet shooting. So at this point, the point of intersection, okay, this is the point where you get the timing where it hits the rifle hits the stone. Okay, so find the timing over there. Teacher's answer is approximately 3.175, also accurate. Of course, I can't do so accurate, right? So I'll round it off to 3.1, 3.2, so on and so forth. since the teacher have a plus or minus 0.05, 3.3 might not even be correct. Okay, so I need not get just so accurate. Maybe I can get 3.15, or yeah, I just put 3.2. Can? Okay, have you gotten your answer? Right, if yes, then let's continue a little bit more. Next, one more question, question number 4. So I'll cover almost half of this question for today's video. I'll continue the other half another next session because I'm scared that you cannot focus for too long. Okay, do a few more questions. Okay, number 4 itself, Jim intends to buy 100 toy rockets, and he has the option of either purchasing it from an online physical store or an online store in Singapore. One is in Singapore for A, one B is in Singapore, in China. Okay, so these are the whichever. There are many things that is down there, and there are little details that you need to think through and be logical about it. So we try to give as many marks as possible for logical deduction. Okay, first one, a toy rocket costs $13 from store A, right? And for every 5 purchase, the customer get 1 rocket for free. So you notice that 5 free 1. This one comes in a bundle of 6. Okay, groups of 6. But how many rockets do I actually need to buy? I take 100 divided by 6. I need to buy approximately 16.6 something, right? But of course, if I were to buy 17, if I were to buy a 17 times 6 will actually exceed 100 already and got extra spare. I try not to use the spare. So in this case, I probably need to calculate. I'll find 16. So 100, right? Rockets is what I want. I minus away 6 times 16 of it. Let's see how many extra rockets do I need to buy. 6 times 16 gives me 96. 100 minus 96, that gives me, oh, I need to buy an extra 4 rockets on its own. So I need to buy 4 rockets that's on its own. Okay, so probably I'll take this, the purchase, and the total purchase if it exceeds $500. Let's see, 1 rocket, 13. I need to buy 16 groups of 5 rockets, which is $13 each, but the other ones are free, right? So that gives me 1,004. Oh, I exceed the $500 already. So I'm eligible for 10% discount. But of course, not forgetting my 4 rockets over here that I'm going to buy. So 4 times 13 to give me 52. Then I add these 2 together to get my total before discount. Please, during your exam, your teacher won't know if you just write all our numbers. Please write description to explain what is this number that you are actually trying to calculate. Please. Okay, so write a description to calculate that, to write what you're actually calculating. So I'm calculating the total 1092. Then after discount, since it's 10%, 100 minus 10, then 90%. So 90 over 100, which is 0.9, right? So this is actually 90 over 100. Right, then you get a total price for this. So that is under store A. Now let's take a look at store B. Store B says a toy rocket costs $50 Chinese yen. Maybe I need to do some conversion, exchange rate conversion from Singapore. And as you can see, they give us the exchange rate below as well, right? There's a shipping fee one time off below 50 items. Do I want 50 items? I'm gonna buy 100 toy rockets, right? So it's 100. So definitely more than 50 items, really above 50 items. So I just need to pay a shipping fee of 20 yuan, right? And it's 50 Chinese yuan each. So 50 times 100 to give you the total amount of yuan, okay, Chinese yen. And then I need to add my shipping fee. Then I find my total in Chinese yen. But as usual, I need to do my conversion. So Singapore $1 is to $4.08. Where $4.84 in yuan. Okay, and I'm finding 5,020 yuan. So I'll divide by 4.48 times 1. That gives me 1037.19 money according to 2 decimal places. Right, and then we shall compare these two magic numbers. Right, so which one should she buy from? The physical store is store A because it's cheaper. Okay, so have you gotten your answers for all this? Yes, then maybe we'll do one more question, right? Oh, sorry, there are a total of 7 questions in this paper itself. Okay, and I already done 4, so I shall stop here for the first half of the recording, and then I'll continue the remaining in the second video. And hopefully you can take a break and check your answers. I'll see you for the next lesson. Bye-bye.